Veteran, hosted by Brandy Pet.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody made it this week. I know it's been definitely a long week. It feels like one of those short, long weeks. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it's me, Brandy Pet, the host of the SA the Veteran podcast, and I am joined by the always lovely Miss Tracy Laporte from Patriots Inside the Wire. And we wanted to have a fun Resilient Patriot, which is our new station, first holiday special. So I'm very excited about this. And we have some truly awesome guests. So you guys are definitely in for quite a treat tonight. It's definitely been an interesting week for me. What about you, Tracy? How's your last week been?
Oh, hi, everyone. Same. So a long week. We all have a lot going on. Holidays are approaching, but it's wonderful to see you. Wonderful to be here tonight on our first ever Resilient Patriot, our first annual holiday show. So yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. It's going great. Hope everyone else is doing well too. Thank you.
And I wanted to really quickly take the time to just clap for those people that are the strong ones that need that support that aren't getting it. There's a lot of people don't always realize that the strong sometimes really do need that support just as much as anyone else. They may look like they have it all together, but either way, it's still important to support, right? For me, you always want to be that person that is that support, or try to just be proactive and just help that, your friends or check on them, if it's, support their business, check in, how are you doing, brother, sister, little things like that. It really means a lot. And a lot of people, you really don't know what others are going through, right? A lot of times
Definitely.
it's just a lot of people keep their hidden battles to themselves. And, even something simple as a compliment or, just, hey, you're doing a good job. Little things like that, resonate far more than we realize. And I think especially now in December that we absolutely need to start doing that. Hi, Amy. So Amy's actually from Lady Beth's Fishing. Super excited to see her. Hi, Rep Nation.
Hi.
So we definitely have some people coming on tonight. So I did also want to bring on our first guest. But before I do, I did very quickly want to show a couple pictures. So I'm not very good at being normal. I think we've established that so far. So I actually decided I wanted to do a flamethrower photo shoot for my graduation photos because I couldn't just stand in front of the fountain. So I did very quickly want to show them off. If that's okay. So this
Go
is me.
for it.
That was me with the flamethrower. Don't use
Nice.
platform boots with the 40-pound pack on your back from Vietnam. Just pro tip, guys. Like, that was more of a challenge than I realized. But either
Cool.
way, wow. Yeah, that's over 100 feet of flame. Easy. And
That
so
looks
this is one. Yeah, that was after. That was
Aw,
after. I got to use
that's
my cap
beautiful.
and pack. I'm pretty proud of myself that I didn't burn my hair and or my actual cap and regalia. So yay. Good
Hey,
job,
they're
everybody.
beautiful. Good
Clap for
job.
yourself,
And
people.
yeah, congratulations. Actually, congratulations on your graduating. That's a huge success. So we're very proud of you. Very
Thank
proud.
you.
And I
Means a
love
lot.
that shot, by the way. That is beautiful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that took so long to actually make the grenade pins because they're controlled items. So a friend of mine that worked with special ops, they were like, well, you can actually make one to look like it if you bought this and this at Home Depot and sprayed it OD green, which actually it pretty well blends. It's not an exact match, but it works for a pinch. And paracord actually works very well to lace a leg. Just wanted to point that out. But I did want to also let you guys know that Badass Beauties is back in stock, and they do have their lipsticks back on. So the Montezuma Red, it's 29 Palms, the body oils. So definitely check it out before it sells out. I believe she even got more of her nudes palette, which is a very, very hot seller. So if you want to impress your ladies, you want to get on the nice list, not the naughty list. We'll talk about that with an expert shortly. But definitely check her out. And that's actually a Marine sister who created that also. So and it's MRE inspired, which I think is great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I knew eventually, hopefully I was going to either graduate or be Billy Madison. I wasn't sure which I was going to be. But I did want to bring on our absolute favorite Rosie, Miss May Cryer. Hi, May. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Brandy. How about you? How about you,
I'm
Tracy?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Miss May?
What is
How
that?
are you? Good.
What? Repeat that, Brandy.
How was Florida, May? I know you just got back
Oh,
from a little trip.
I started at St. Petersburg at the beginning of the month. Then I went to York, Pennsylvania. Then I went to Pittsburgh, and then I just ended up with 5 days in Tampa. It's beautiful. That was a beautiful program down there. So I'm kind of wiped out.
Yeah,
But
you're.
it
I
was
mean, and you run laps around me in Texas. Like I didn't know how I was going to keep up with the Energizer Bunny. I didn't know that you had that kind of speed, ma'am. I'm impressed.
that, Brandy. I'm going to be 98 shortly, and you only have so much energy, boy. And I'm finding that out. And I've got programs before Christmas too. I've got 2 of them, but they're not flying, so I'm home in my own territory. So that's Philadelphia Police and our mint. I've been invited back to our mint. They're making the coin for the greatest generation, and they've asked me
Wow,
to come. Isn't that nice?
I
And
can't wait. Definitely keep us updated when you have the date set because we absolutely want to go and support you.
and they've got a new director.
Definitely.
Hopefully, I can find out when we're going to get our congressional gold medal. That'll be nice. So, there's many
Yes.
things that go on all the time, and I'm very happy that I'm able to go out there and promote women and promote programs. I think it's so important. And you're
And
young people, I mean, it's wonderful what you're doing. And, us from the greatest generation can give you a boost by moral support. And
yes,
hopefully,
ma'am.
anything, Randy, that I can do to help you along with your programs, be sure and ask me. I'm more than willing.
Well, we were
Beautiful.
truly grateful. Anytime that you help us or you work with us, it's truly an honor. I know you helped us with the Women Veterans Calendar. We actually were able to have a picture with you and I from our Wild Week in Texas. They
Right.
still remember you finally got drive tanks, and the tree is still alive. And I'm making a sign for a sign for your tree, but by the way, because I found it when I went out to use a flamethrower. I just say hi to your picture. I'm like, hey, May.
They can't believe I drove a tank. And I said it was funny because it wasn't driving, it was hard. It was getting in and out of it. They laughed
Yeah.
about that.
I was concerned when you got in because I was like, is it a felony if I enter a national treasure?
Well, this time they had me, I didn't drive the Jeep. They had me sit in the Jeep taking pictures down in Tampa. But it was cute because they all get a kick out of that tank incident. And now I've
Yeah.
laid claim to Sherman tank.
Did you tell them that you had the photographer chase you too because you floored it? Because they thought you were going to go slow because you were 97 and instead you put up the gas?
Almost took you off the top either.
No. I was fine. Maggie was the one that almost took with the tree, but she was belted in and she didn't even lose her beer, so she was fine. But she wasn't supposed to have. Yeah, Maggie's a wild one, but honestly, we love her.
They're a lot of fun to be with, Brandy, I'll tell you. We had a great week, didn't we?
Yes, ma'am. I did tell you
Beautiful.
if I could be your handler for a week that I'd make the most of it. And I was absolutely dead set on that. So I was very thankful we could do that. And if you ever want to come back to Texas, I'm happy to make some more ventures for us. I'm definitely working on some plans. And how is your podcast? Because you have a podcast now, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the first one was really nice. Now we're having one with Gregory Cook, who is the one that's promoting our for American women. And that's nice. And that's really nice. That's important that we, promote equality. And it's a great opportunity to do it. So that's going to be our next one. And then hopefully we'll get the Air Force in there. Of course, the Air Force has been extremely good to me. So, I'm invited to the Air Force Affair in St. Louis in March.
Oh, take me with you next time, May.
Well, yeah, and I thought I had that listed.
Okay,
Hey,
turn your phone. You turn
That's
your earbuds on?
legendary. That's legendary. There's a home line ringing live
love
on
her.
the show. So
It's
legendary.
funny. May's whole house, like you would never know, like she is like amazing as she is until you hit her office and garage, and then you're like, oh my god, like I was like, my eyes were like this, looking at all the generals' coins and like from history. I was like, this needs to be a museum. Your house needs to be a museum, May. She's like, oh, that old
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, that was in space. Like the Smithsonian
Yes,
wants some of the things that are just hanging out in her office, just there. Like she's
This
got like
morning, when I
presidents.
opened this morning when I opened my computer, I had a invite to go to Pearl Harbor on for my 91st on my 98th birthday, but mostly for National Rosie Riveter Day, and that's
Which is your
March
birthday, by the way.
21st, yeah, March, and they invited me to Hawaii for that. And I said, oh, I'm scheduled to go to St. Louis with the Air Force for that week. So
Well, let us know if you need an escort, May. You know I'm always happy to escort you. I'll behave this time, I promise.
I know you get everywhere. I understand you're going to London, Randy.
Yes. So
England?
yep. So basically I was told I would never have legs after the age of 40, and I turned 39 this year, and I wanted to do a calendar photo shoot. And I wanted to have like half the proceeds from the calendar go directly to homeless veteran nonprofits. And I wanted to, I guess, have memories with my legs if I were to ever lose them, I guess. And I know that sounds odd, but for me, I almost lost my legs in England. So I thought that was the perfect place to go. And the photographer is amazing. And I truly love one of the artists that are performing there around that time. So as a graduation and birthday gift to myself, I am going to see Lindemann, the gentleman that we actually watched in that video at Rammstein. That's his band. So I'm very excited, but it should be fun. It's been a long semester, very stressful, but I'm very thankful that I've had the opportunities that I've had. But let me go ahead and introduce our last guest. So this gentleman does not need much of an introduction, as he is quite well known. The man, the myth, the legend, the Gunny Claus. How are you doing there, Santa?
Jovial.
Jovial.
Oh, perfect. Good.
Yeah, well, my
Okay.
boss is jolly, so
Nah. So I do have some Santa related questions. Maybe you can help me. So does Gunny Claus, like if the elves are misbehaving or not performing correctly, do they have to do push-ups? Did you have them push?
well, Santa doesn't actually have me at the North Pole. He put me down at Troll Station, Antarctica.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was afraid I might take over.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, you've got a pretty majestic beard. I'll have to give you that one.
Not too bad.
So tell us
Come in
about
pretty nice.
Comic-Con. So you were recently in New York Comic-Con. Tell us about how that was.
So last year I went down just on a whim, and coming out, I was interviewed by a local podcast on TikTok. And my TikTok at the time, I probably had maybe 3 followers. And on his site on TikTok, his page on TikTok, it's got like 67 million views. And so
Wow.
it took my profile from nothing to about 7,000 views.
Wow.
And
Overnight.
so-
Yeah, that's kind of horrifying when things go viral on TikTok, because you never know when it's going to be. And it's usually like the silliest, randomest thing.
yeah. And so I figured since I did well the first time, I'd go down for a couple days again. And it was fun. I met some people that, recognized me from the year before. Saw some people that I knew from my area. There's a Saratoga Comic-Con, and some of the guys go down there for the New York City Comic-Con. So I was able to stop and talk to them. And so it was a really good time. It's fun because being in New York, we have the Canadian border. And so a lot of people think I'm a Royal Canadian Mountie because of my uniform.
See that? Yeah.
And so,
It is quite crisp.
yeah. And so at Comic-Con, they see that, and then, I get to tell them that I'm in the Marines, and I do a lot of charities, and I help Toys for Tots. And so it's a fun time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that beard is real. We know that.
Yep.
And it looks wonderful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Actually, can we share your TikTok video that you just had go viral recently? Would that be
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show it now. Oh, and also what should people leave out for Gunny Claus to get in his good graces? Is it red crayons appropriate, or is it something different?
Well, I have a particular flavor, preference for red, but
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah. My life be like, my life.
Oh my goodness, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
and the story behind that is any Marine who's ever put on dress blues knows that collar is a royal pain to get closed.
So it's like gig line, like you had that like perfect. That was like, yes, that is in regs.
And then sometimes you get it closed and it pops open a minute later.
Yeah.
And with the beard, it will catch on it and it'll pull out a hair, so it's a little bit painful.
Oh, it's like right in like that sensitive spot too.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
And so I had tried it twice already to get it to pop to close, and it popped. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna take a stupid video of this, not working. And of course, as soon as I video it, it works perfectly, and I'm like, okay. And I forgot about the video, and then I was like, oh, I need to put something on TikTok, because I hadn't put anything up for a while. And I put it up, and then I start getting the notifications that it's been liked and people have commented, and then it just all of a sudden it's over 1 million views, and I'm just like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah, I understand that. My leg is actually more famous than my face. I've gotten about 8 million views for posting like when I've laced my leg and taken off like the special effects. And people think that I have a mermaid leg or my leg will seal back up and be normal again or something. And I think I did a guitar pick leg and I came back from Germany and it was at like almost 1.9 million views. I was like, oh, like that was amusing for me, not for everyone else. So you never know what's going to go viral on TikTok. I absolutely agree with you. And I think that's amazing that you're able to help so many people and spread holiday cheer, especially now. I did want, because I know it's getting a little late, so I know we do have a blade to give away now. So I did want to have our question. So the question is, what is the significance of today's date? The first person to post it in the comments will get an amazing Damascus knife mailed to them, courtesy of Holly Bladesmithing. I wish I had Jeopardy music right now. Baby, okay. Amy got it. Okay. Yep. So yep, it's Pearl Harbor Remembrance. Why is it? Why stop? Okay. Yeah, Amy won it. Yes. Okay, Amy.
Congratulations, Amy.
So message. Are you gonna say Semper Festivus for us?
Gung ho ho.
Yes.
Wow.
So, all right. So, go ahead and email me your address, and we will get that blade right to you as soon as I receive it, because it is on its way to me as we speak. Thank you very much, Holly Bladesmithing, for the donation. Definitely is always nice to spread a little holiday cheer, especially Damascus, because no one knows this, but Damascus looks pretty horrible until you actually have to sand it. May, did you have a question you'd like to ask Gunny Claus?
Yes, I just wanted to remind you how important today is. This is Pearl Harbor, and it is today, right, Jack?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what happened so many years ago. I mean, I remember that day so well when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And, you never take that out of us. We're the greatest generation. And we'll always remember those. There are very strong memories in our mind and heart. What happened to our country that day. I just want to say to all of our veterans and everybody out there, thank you for helping to save our country.
And my heart also goes out to our Gold Star families as well during this holiday season, as well as just people that are truly going through a hard time and having those invisible battles that, they try to grin and bear it and it looks great on social media, but inside, they're really going through a lot. We see you, and, if you guys need to reach out to us, please reach out to the SA Veteran Podcast, Patriots Inside the Wire. We're always happy to help. And just so you guys know, May's podcast can be found on her Honor Rosie page, or if you look up Breaking Barriers with May Cryer, it will come right up. But she actually has had 2 so far, and she's more to come. And I can't wait to see what else May has in store for us with her interviews.
I hope it
Can't
gets
either. I can't either.
What I thought was interesting that when you were talking about Pearl Harbor when we were in Uvalde, you were talking about when you first heard about that you guys didn't, a lot of people didn't know even where Pearl Harbor was. Could you talk a little bit about that?
When we were just teenagers, I was a teenager when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And I said, I remember the day so well because it was a Sunday and my sister and I had been to a matinee. When we came home, our folks were sitting by the radio very upset. And we said, what had happened? They said, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. And I stood there and I thought, I don't think I know where Pearl Harbor is. And I thought that was very unusual. But as I travel with the veterans, I find that so many of them didn't know where Pearl Harbor was either. You know, we weren't sophisticated about the rest of the world at that time, but we certainly found out in a hurry where Pearl Harbor was. We knew our fleet was out there somewhere, but we didn't realize the extent of what was taking place.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think absolutely. Thank you so much for telling us about that, May. I love hearing you speak every single time, just because I feel like I learned something new about you every single time I've sat with you, and I'm always honored. Like I'm like happy to like make mental notes to remember, because it's like wow, like you know most people would never know it. I mean, I read so many books of Rosie's, and there's so many things that aren't said and should be. So I'm so thankful that you come on our podcast and that you continue to support us women. So you guys know, the Rosies have, I believe, raised over $400,000 for women to learn metalworking. I believe, is that right, May?
Yeah, that's
Something like that?
Melissa Kirsterman, Deb's a representative, and now she's working on another program. And this is wonderful because it trains the young women and it teaches them to be electricians, welders, whatever it is that they choose to do. And I think this is really nice because it gets them into programs they normally wouldn't get into. And when I meet up with one of these young women, which I just met a new one that's a welder, and she's thrilled to death with what she does. She makes catalytic converters, but she also is very talented. From her grandfather tells me she makes beautiful things with that welding torch. So it's not just a job, it's being creative.
And for me, I love the transformative element of it. That's why I like to make knives myself, because of the fact you can get a piece of scrap that someone would have discarded and thought was worthless, right? And you can forge it with sheer will and temperament and the right elements and make it something truly beautiful. And I believe it's very true for people as well. A lot of people believe that they're worthless, they have no value, there's nothing to it. But if the right pressure and the right time and resources were applied, you can accomplish great things. I absolutely agree with you.
I never knew about your forging, your knives and things, the things you made. I've only learned about that recently. But look at how you love that. Look at how the people love that.
I do.
And I had no clue what you did or how you did it. And this is all important, that we do what makes us feel important, makes us feel good. I think it's so important for us to create in our life. Creating I always say it's like building a treehouse. It's the building of the treehouse that's fun. It's not the playing in it afterwards. There's something about creating that makes us feel, well, we are proud of ourselves. And creating is so important in our lives. Just like you're doing, Tracy, too. Look what you're doing with your families. I mean, this is so amazing and so wonderful. And you, Santa Claus, we all love you.
Yeah. So what's the fastest way to get on the naughty list? I have questions for maybe others.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Oh no, I was asking Gunning Claus. I thought he may be the subject matter expert on this one.
I think the fastest way to be on the naughty list is to be a liar.
We've got enough of those in Washington, haven't we?
They're going to say lawyers. I didn't thought you were going to go there.
And because a lot of times I talk to kids and I ask them if they've been good or nice, or naughty, and you can tell when they start trying to fib. And I go, if you're honest and you tell me the truth, that'll keep you on the nice list. But if you lie and you try and hide it, and then you're going to definitely be on the naughty list. And so I think that's one of the things that I try to pass on to the kids.
Integrity is important.
Then when they have siblings, make sure that the siblings don't fight, and they take care of each other, they help each other, and of course, listening to their parents, make sure they do what they're told. When I'm wearing my medals on my uniform, I'll point at just one of the medals, and I'll say, if you eat your vegetables, you get this medal. If you clean your room and you make your bed, you get this medal. And
this is what you get when you mow the lawn.
Yeah.
And you're teaching him respect. That's what's nice.
Yep. And I had the best kid. He was looking at my medals, and they're the anodized gold medals. And he asked if there was chocolate inside of it.
Such a question. I mean,
like those coins that you get at Christmas, the chocolate coins, gold ones.
That'd be kind of Willy Wonka like. That'd be kind of awesome, actually, if you just busted it out and just bit into one and ate it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I'd love to be able to figure out a way to make a medal so that I'd be able to do that and give it to a kid. But most of the time when I'm out, it's too hot, and then I'd have chocolate melting all over me.
It melts in your hand, not in your mouth. No, it's the opposite of what you want. No,
it would be horrible.
That would be.
So I know, Tracy, we kind of haven't had you ask any questions. I apologize. What questions would you like to ask? Is there something maybe you've got a question for May or Gunny Claus?
I think more of a statement to be said that, thank you. We're grateful for being here. We're grateful for your service, Gunny Claus. And we're also grateful to all those who are serving or have served. We look back to our Gold Star families. Shout out to all of you out there that I know you're listening. My phone's available. I know the holidays can be tough when there's a chair that's empty, and that can go for multiple families. And I just want to say that our hearts are with you. We love you, and I feel you right here in my heart. So I understand that. And Miss May, it is an honor to sit here with you and have worked with you on the Two-Step Act in honor of my son. You are just so beautifully kind and generous. And so I hope that everyone will check out your new podcast because you have a podcast. And that's a pretty big deal. So that's a very big deal, and it's just beautiful.
Well, that's what I mentioned. I was in Tampa, that's the first Rosie podcast.
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
laughed about this.
Yes, you are.
And I don't know what I'm doing.
You're doing a good job.
Hey, I'm still learning too, so trust me, you're doing great.
It's been 3 years and I'm still messing up, May. You're way ahead of my curve.
Yeah, I think you're great.
Let's just say I'm having fun. I've had a good life, and it's been wonderful. I've had such so much fun, and I've just been blessed. Let's put it. I've been blessed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Gunny Claus, I don't know if I have a question, but am I on the nice list? Or no? I'm not. She's shaking her head.
Randy's shaking her head. No,
it's up to you.
I know. I already know where I am. Like that's why I asked what I could use to bribe Santa. I was like ahead of the curve on this one.
All right. Well, my 14-year-old.
The thing is, if you think you're on the naughty list, that generally means that you've done things.
Ooh,
I do.
And by admitting to the things that you've done wrong, that gets you back on the nice list, as I said before.
So it's like a confession. So
exactly.
Do you go to the Salvation Army and just confess there, and that way Santa gets the message, or do you write the North Pole directly? I have questions.
No, I've got an elf, elf on the shelf. He runs messages up to Santa for me.
Love Elf on the Shelf. Oh my goodness, I still do that with my son. And some people are like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No." You just put it everywhere, and it's like, watch out, he's looking.
Yep.
Saw what you did. It's more fun to see if the kids tell on themselves and you do that.
Yeah.
So so I know that you had a lot of different kinds of Christmases over a period of time. What is one Christmas tradition that you wish they would bring back?
Well, the families naturally, we were always the hub of the family when the kids were all growing up. And of course, now they've all moved away and got their own traditions, which they should have. But you never get over the love of the family. There's so many like this past week we were together, a lot of us. Well, Thanksgiving, and it was amazing. I didn't realize how we were the center of the family for so many years. And as they move away and get their own traditions, you're proud of them. You like to watch it. You realize that they're growing up. They know what they want. It's changing times. You can't hang on to the past. You've got to let go and let them do their thing. And I sit back and I've got beautiful memories. I said, I laugh when I said, I'm out there promoting women and young girls. And I said, I'm not man bashing because I've had nothing but good men in my life, from my grandfather right down to my great grandsons. So we said, you have to treasure all these things. And I do. And so I'm just blessed. I said, I've been very fortunate. Good life, good everything. The only problem I had is my hearing. And I had my eyes checked, and the doctor said my eyes are great. I said, what can you do about my hearing? And he started to laugh. He said, it wasn't his job.
It wasn't his job. Let me refer you somewhere. Yeah, that's usually how it goes for us in the VA too. I know that for fact. And so I know one of May's guests, Rai Kenny, is actually currently raising funds for a World War II Women Memorial in British Columbia, if I'm correct. And you can go to www.worldwar2womenmemorial.org if you want to donate, because she only has a set amount of time in which to raise the funds to have the actual facility built. Like now it's been approved through Congress, but she still needs our help to help get our 16 million women that served during World War II the respect and the honor that they deserve. So let's go ahead, and if you can help, absolutely. And I know for Gunny Claus Toys for Tots, I mean, that's an amazing program as well. Is there any other programs that that we may not know about Gunny Claus that maybe we should check out?
Well, mentioning the memorial for the women that fought and served in our country, we have one here in Albany, New York. It's right next to the UN Memorial and just around the corner from the World War II Memorial. So we're fortunate to have that here already. Woody Harrelson, he came out, and Herschel Woody Williams, he came out and dedicated a Gold Star Family Memorial right next to our Vietnam Memorial.
Wow.
Nice.
So being at the capital of New York in Albany, we have a lot of memorials. And next year, I just got approval to do an Irreverent Warriors Silky Hike here in Albany, New York. And those are some of the sites that we'll stop and see when we tour around Albany with our veterans to prevent suicide.
I would definitely reach out to, after the mission, Ricky Fultz actually does a lot for the communities, a retired MMA fighter, but he works with homeless veterans, but he actually did a lot of cross-country bike rides where he would stay basically like under bridges or like in veteran encampments, and he would just basically just go straight. I think he went like 3,500 miles straight by himself. Like he didn't have a vehicle, or like he wasn't staying in any hotels or anything like that, because he was trying to raise awareness for people with post-traumatic stress. But I think what you're doing is amazing for the Reverent Warriors. Please keep us updated so we can go ahead and share anything that you're doing. I actually made a joke to some of the Reverent Warriors organizers for certain states, because they've been trying to get me to go on a hike forever. And I have one of 3 arteries in each leg, so that's not easy for me. So I said the only way I do it is in a tank wheelchair. It's called a track chair.
Oh,
And they searched 3 states and they found one. I was like, and now actually someone had reached out to us and is wanting to sell it to us. So I'm kind of considering it, but they're usually quite expensive. And if you're not combat injured, even though you have the need, you won't get approved, unfortunately. But I told him that that'd be the only way I do it, because I don't want someone to just push me in a wheelchair, because I refuse. May knows how I feel about the wheelchairs.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do a motorcycle event. I do a motorcycle event called the Harley Rendezvous. They give me the free space, and I collect for Toys for Tots. And there's a veteran that has one of those tank wheelchairs, and he comes out there for the week. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, those things can corner on a dime.
Are you a motorcycle, Sandra? Are you? Do you have a motorcycle?
Oh, are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I ride.
Well, I ask you that because
Nice.
I'm doing a Philadelphia policeman affair next week, and that's part of the program is all the motorcycle people that show up and help raise funds for the Philadelphia police. It's a nice, beautiful program. But I wanted to say, Brandy, that we're losing our World War II vets. There's not as many of us that can travel together now, so we're going with a lot of Vietnam vets. And I love when we go with the nurses. When I were coming home from England, we had 2 nurses with us, and they tell their stories. I tell you, it's unbelievable. They don't get the credit that they deserve. I mean, you imagine how many sons and men and daughters have laid in their arms dying and how they suffer. They suffer with them. I mean, nurses, I think I call them the new modern generation of Rosie the Riveters, because during the pandemic, they worked right through it. They put their life on the line all the time.
Every day,
Doctors
yeah.
and I said I think they're wonderful people. But like I
Absolutely.
said, we're doing our World War II, so now we're picking up on Vietnam.
And I'm
Yes,
glad that the Vietnam veterans are starting to finally get more recognition for like claimable conditions. You know, they're starting to get recognized more for their service. You know, there's still a very long way to go, but I'm glad to see that change and the momentum is starting. So I think that that's amazing that you're able to travel with these nurses, because some of the conditions that they had to work under and deal with and post-traumatic stress really wasn't a thing then. It was battlefield sickness, you know, and they usually would just put you in the front lines because they think you were a malingerer. They wouldn't actually always recognize it. And sometimes it had very disastrous consequences because of the fact that it wasn't checked. But at the end of the day, though, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Getting back to your motorcycles, when the honor flight took me to Washington with them, when we reached the Pennsylvania state line, the motorcycles were sitting there waiting for us. I couldn't believe it. I was so impressed. There was well over 100 motorcycles that escorted us back to the Northeast Philadelphia, and it was really impressive. I
Really? You took over Grunt Style, May. You had 50 women take out Tim Jensen. Literally, 50 women tackled one of the heads of Grunt Style headquarters when you went and did your podcast there, ma'am. No. And you became the unofficial mayor of Uvalde for a whole day, and you lapped the whole city, like what, 3 times I think we did it? Ma'am,
No,
you're like the female Fonz.
You just got to get out there and enjoy it. There's so much in life to enjoy. There's so many different things, so many different people. And, you know, it's funny because with all my travels and all the years I've been doing this, I really, if ever, ran into anybody that I didn't like or that wasn't good. And I think that's amazing because there's some bad ones out there. I know we've all experienced that, I'm sure. But I've been very fortunate.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you on our show and to have hear your amazing stories. And I'm sorry,
going back to the motorcycles.
May wants a ride.
Yeah, I was going to say, I meet New York Mike. He's, of course, originally from New York, but he's living in San Diego, California. He used to own San Diego Harley Davidson, and he rides from San Diego to Washington, D.C. every year for Rolling Thunder, which is now Rolling to Remember.
Wow.
And they're still doing the POW MIA mission, but they've also added 22 a day because of suicides with our veterans. And it's now taken over by AMVETS. And
really?
Yep. We're still doing it. Last year we were allowed back into the Pentagon to start the ride, and then we ride down to the Capitol and we go around the block, the main concourse there, and all the memorials. Tim, the saluting Marine, is there. Staff Sergeant Tim Chambers is there, and he salutes all the motorcycles as they come through. And so, if anybody wants to go and be a passenger and ride in that rally, let me know afterwards, and we get
Yeah,
to.
can I sit in the sidecar? Can I have a sidecar dressed like I'm in Mad Max?
So there are sidecars, there are
This is a legitimate
slingshots,
question. Like I
there
can't
there
actually shift.
there's all sorts of motorcycles there.
No,
So
I'm not riding in it. That's cheating. A slingshot's cheating. No.
well, I'm just
You
saying
must thing, Brandy, right?
there's trikes, there's sidecars, there's slingshots. I mean, you name it. There's ways of
What's a
being involved in
slingshot?
that ride. So
What's a
It looks like
slingshot?
it's like it's set up like a trike, kind of, right?
Well,
it's
it
two
reminds me
wheels.
almost of a go-kart type motorcycle mix, right, Santa?
Yeah, so the two wheels in the front,
Yeah.
and you sit down in like a car, and it
I've
has
seen
one
on
wheel in the back.
Yeah.
And two
Yeah.
two in the front, right?
Yeah, two in the
Right,
front.
right. Reminds me of a go-kart with a mix
Yeah.
of a motorcycle. So, Gunny Claus, you will have to I would love to see pictures. I would love to know more about
Yeah.
that. The motorcycle
We'll
community.
support.
I will say
Yeah.
right now, the motorcycle community, holidays or whether it's our Gold Star families, our veterans, they are actually one of the number one.
Very supportive.
They give back. I mean, they do so
Yeah,
much for the
absolutely.
community. And my son was
You
my
know,
whole
another
family has always been involved with the motorcycles and
I'm
community.
sorry, May.
So,
What were you saying, May?
Oh.
I apologize.
another group I like to speak to is the military wives. They don't realize what the women go through while the men are over there fighting. The men are in the trenches, but the women are home trying to make everything work, pay the bills,
Yeah,
raise the children.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the women are in the trenches too, and the males are having to fill that role, and it's a struggle too.
I take that back. I worded that wrong. But anyway, when the men come home, it's hard for the women because now the men want to take over, but the woman probably does it better, like paying bills and what have you. That's difficult.
That's fair.
You know, and another man is still macho and he wants to come back and take over where he left off. But when she says put the garbage out, that changes everything, don't it? I think that is funny because it's just very difficult for these women when the men come home. I know my one granddaughter's experienced this. And I mean, it's very terrible for all of them because so many of the men come home. I'm going to say shell shocked, but that's our term in our era and time. But with the men come home, they have so many things to deal with. You, Brandy, your group, you know what they have to deal with. And I said, but the women also have issues. That's what they kind of forget about the women and the babies that are left behind.
Well, that and the caregivers too. Like when people do get injured, like say severely due to malpractice or an incident in the line of duty, a lot of times the caregivers really aren't given the respite they need or the training to like help understand when their significant other's triggering and make it easier for them as well as the person they're doing that care for and getting that rest that they need also because it is very difficult on their mental health as well. And many people don't realize that is very much something that needs to be better supported. But Gunny, did you have any questions for May? I know we're going to wrap up because I know it's been a long trip and I don't want to keep her on too much longer. And I feel bad because it's quite late on her side. I apologize.
Well, I'm looking at the notes there. You got Resilient Patriots. He wants to know more about the motorcycle groups. So.
That's us. I created our own station. I got tired of the
You're putting your own thing out there. I got you. Okay.
Yep, chicks. We need to band together.
We'll have to get with you. Yes, we'll get with you, Gunny Claus, on the back channels in regards to the whole motorcycle stories and how we literally have directly had them involved. And it's smoke and prayers. When you say smoke and prayers, that's a term used by our motorcycle communities. So smoke and prayers to you, Gunny Claus. Ho, ho, ho. I'm going to be on that nice list. And Mrs. May, you are a powerhouse. I mean, I'm like, can I just keep up with you if I'm doing that? And then
I've accepted the fact. I am not ashamed that a 97-year-old woman like mopped the floor with me for a week. Like I admit that to everybody. I would not have been ready for May in her prime.
Well, and May, wonderful. The thing about women.
What were you saying, May? I'm sorry.
Well, you know, I worked for 40 years to get more than 40 years to get the women recognized. It wasn't fair that we weren't recognized after the war was over because we were every bit as good as the men when it came to building the planes and the ships and what have you. But it was a time when they didn't know, up until 1941, it was a man's world. Women were good at making beds and like cooking meals and taking care of everybody in the family. They didn't realize how capable we were. And we certainly showed them, didn't we? I said, they compliment me on how the Rosies opened doors, but we opened the doors, but you were the woman who were doing it. And we're just so proud of you because you've just taken the bull by the horns and just gone to town. Look at your careers. Look at the wonderful things you're doing. The only thing I have to say is we need more women in Washington. I mean, how could we do any more?
Honest women in Washington. Yes, ma'am.
So that's my speech.
I think
That's
it's
how
beautiful.
Well, we need
Empowering
to be-
women.
Be the change you want to see. Is that right?
What's that?
So
Brenda?
we need to be the change that we want to see. So us ladies need to step up so we can affect change because our rights are being taken away at a quite alarming rate. So if we don't advocate for ourselves, who would advocate for us? It's important to be our own best advocates.
Well, Brandy,
That
I
and
don't think
voting.
the average person realizes what you're a good example. They don't realize what you've gone through with the military. I mean, the average person, I have no a clue of what you've experienced with your health and your military service. And you, Tracy, I don't completely understand. I know you're working for Gold Star Families.
Well, she's a
where
Gold
does-
Star mom.
Yeah, my son, Sergeant Two Step, was active duty in the Army, and so it would be called a Gold Star mom. So my son, he's watching us right now from above. He went by Two Step,
sorry.
Sergeant Two Step. Oh, May, you helped. You literally
You
wrote
really
a
did.
letter. Yeah, here in Texas, and we presented it. I was in session.
Yep.
It's still there on the website, twostepback.com. Your letter is there. It's still making a difference. So you are still working on a law, literally.
Yes, May. Remember, we did so much in a week. You drove a tank. You helped almost pass a law unanimously through the House. You were
Yeah.
given the key to a city. I think we went to 3 schools. You were in 2 magazines and 4
They still get
newspapers.
letters from the vault.
And we still raise money to tattoo women veterans with PTSD.
I
Kind of
have
proud
my-
of that, actually.
If you can see on my back wall, the keys in one of those, I've got so many challenge coins. I got 3 cabinets of beautiful
Yeah,
challenge coins.
I still have
Yes.
dreams about your challenge
That's
coins.
yes,
They're
and they're-
amazing.
When we went to
Oh,
the
those
bank, they
are
gave me the key to
beautiful.
the city, and we laughed. We said, "Where's the vault? Where does this key work?"
No, she literally walked right in the bank and was like, "I'm here to get my money." Like walks right up to the vault, and they're like, "Oh, you're joking." I'm like, "She's so serious."
We had
I
fun.
think it's great.
It was
It
very
is
fun.
crazy because you people are half my age, and I don't know, almost everybody I traveled with is either like half my age. And sometimes I feel bad because you've got a lot of things you want to do, and I don't know whether I hold you back or not, but it's amazing that I'm traveling with all younger people.
I'm the youngest,
It's
oldest lady you'll ever
beautiful.
meet, May. That's why I think that we travel well together.
Well, sure, I
I'm
can
always
drive.
told I'm 80.
But they laugh
You're
when I said I drove
beautiful.
a German tank. I didn't tell how bad I did it, but
You're pretty amazing. I didn't know that you were literally like the female version of the Fonz. Like I've known many UFC fighters, rock stars, celebrities. Never have I ever seen grown women push grown men twice their size out of the way to get to another woman to hug her as hard as they could in my life. Like that was the whole. I wish we had a documentary of just that whole week because she
Yeah.
literally would have prints of people's faces down her sleeves because they would be hugging her, the makeup would come off. So she would have like whole prints of their faces by the end of the
Wow.
day. Like, I mean, and she never wavered. Like, I mean, we thought we were going to have maybe 50 people come to that reading and 500 showed up. And then the whole town basically asked us to like keep stopping at different places. And so we kept going to different, more and more places as we lapped the city. But honestly, you are definitely a breath of fresh air. And they are very much hoping that you make a return to Texas as I do as well. So hopefully we've got that in the cards next year. But we are going to close it up with final thoughts tonight because I know, like I said, we've kept you on quite late. I do apologize. So we'll start with you, Tracy. What are your final thoughts for the night?
Well, saying thank you. Thank you to everyone out there again. Thank you for being with us. I know during the holiday season, myself included, it's hard. when you have an empty seat at that table and you've lost that service member, or we do have families that are still serving and they're not home right now, or those that have served in need. So I want to say about the Gold Star families, my heart is there with you. I know you're watching, and anything that we can do. And Gunny Clouds, you bring up the motorcycle community. They are so good to the Gold Star families. I can't wait to learn more about what you're doing. I would love to know more about that. Thank you so much, Santa. Please put me on the nice list. And Miss May, you are such a fresh air, empowering women. And I wish that I could just carry you around somehow every day and like say, listen to this. Like, please listen to this.
You would always be entertained. You have no idea what you're asking, Tracy.
Well, we'll get you into session. I'll get you in that Capitol and I'll get you in front of whomever at that time. So, or DC. So either of those things, I'm with you on that one. I have no problem going in and talking in session, trying to get things done. And again, thank you for inspiring me. Your words were, it took me 60 years, so don't you quit. And I was like,
yep.
Okay. And then I heard 60 years. I was like, ooh.
And she was wanting to quit. Then you told her that night that and meant everything to her.
It really did. It really did. And we were successful, May. We didn't lose. We just had a lot going on. So the House, it was unanimous, but the Senate, there were some snags.
Yeah, they didn't even think it was going to actually like win by majority. And no one dared oppose it because they saw your name.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was very beautiful, May.
I've just had the opportunity to speak out. This is nice because, there's not too many. There's too many Rosies left, but they're not well enough or healthy enough to speak out. And of course, a lot of them wouldn't anyway. But it's so nice to be able to promote our women and young girls. Every opportunity I get, I go to schools and just wherever I can go, I talk to the women. And I think it's very important.
It really is.
Yes, and like I said, it's you younger women that you're the ones that are doing it. We opened the doors, but you're the ones who are doing it, and we're so proud of you.
And we're truly honored to have been able to meet you, and I can't wait to have some more adventures with you next year. Definitely more to come, May. I'm working on some projects for us. You know me. You're not driving the tank this time. I can. No, just kidding. But no, May, what are your final thoughts? Did you want to share anything with anybody tonight before we close tonight?
I just want Sam to do a good job. He's got a hard job ahead of him now. He's got a long road to hoe, as we would say. But no, I just want everybody to have a nice Christmas, Merry Christmas. And it's important. As you grow older, you lose that spirit. And but you still have all those great memories. And God knows I've got a lot of them. And I'm so thankful. My husband lived to be 93 years old. I was married almost 70 years before he passed away. So, I've been blessed in life. And hopefully that you are too, I hope. I mean, you go through many such things like you, Tracy, like you, Brandy. Sam, I don't know what things you've, I don't know your background is what you've suffered through your.
She's got follow-up questions for you later.
Yeah.
I do know what the girls have gone through, so because I know of them. But hopefully you all have a nice Christmas, and Santa do a good job. You're important.
Now you got stakes involved.
May, you remind me of my grandmother, May.
Do I? Yeah.
Yeah. And
the most metal grandma of all time. I love it.
No.
She that side of my family was trapped in the Philippines during World War II.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, my family's from Sweden, so they're a neutral country, and so they made it through. Actually, with one of the family members of Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow.
And so my grandmother, would tell me some of the things that happened during the Japanese occupation, and the Spitfire that you remind me of my grandmother. I remember as a kid, being 18 years old, and I couldn't keep up with her. She'd get up before I did. She'd get up
Matriarch
before I
life is a
did.
busy one.
She'd make breakfast. She'd make lunch. She'd make dinner. I mean, she was just an amazing woman. And on my father's side, he survived the German occupation of Denmark. And so when people ask me why I joined the Marine Corps, those are the two examples. My family's here because of Rosie the Riveter building the equipment so that we could bring peace and end the tyranny of those two nations. So thank you so much.
Well, you make me proud when you tell me I remind you of your grandmother. That's a compliment.
Aw.
Yes.
It is. It's beautiful.
And Gunny, did you know? Actually, I just learned this recently that it was the Germans during World War I that named Marines devil dogs.
Yep.
That's actually the nickname came from because the mustard gas. The Marines look so wild coming up. Was it Berlin Belau, the battle? And it was like very hilly, and the Germans way outnumbered and way out fortified the Marines. But the Marines, being Marines, were not going to quit or surrender, or give any ground. And they went through looking like wild, like animals almost, like because they just looked so ferocious. And they were saying, "Who are these devil dogs?" As they were getting bayoneted, basically. So the name stuck, and that's actually where they came from.
The battle was the location was Bella Wood in France.
Bella Wood. Okay.
And the French have renamed it the Marines Wood, and there is a fountain there that allegedly, if you drink from the fountain as a Marine, you are guaranteed a career in the Marine Corps of 20 years at least.
How have I not heard this legend?
Wow.
Yep.
Huh.
That's great.
Now I gotta go.
Yeah, you'll have to share some of that information for sure. We're going to hear more about that later.
The Germans who invented the flamethrower and chemical weapons, mustard gas, were terrified of Marines and a shotgun, so much so that they wanted them outlawed in combat because we're so deadly with them that they didn't want anybody to ever have to face a Marine and a shotgun again.
They felt it was like unfair. I'm like, but you have mustard gas. Like, that's not fair either. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Like, at least make it fair, guys.
You know,
But it was
Brandy,
fair.
the average person walking down the street, if they passed him, they wouldn't even know what he did for our country. This is sad because when I'm with the veterans, we hear the most wonderful, I shouldn't say wonderful exactly, but we hear their stories and they're absolutely amazing. I said, if I met that man on the street and walked past him, I wouldn't even know what he did for our country. And I said, this is sad because everybody isn't able or can't get out and tell their story. These young people have no idea what you men did, you women too, for our country and how you sacrificed. And they expect everything for nothing. I shouldn't say that's not quite right, but they're
history of life because it will repeat itself, unfortunately, if not lessons.
Well, one of the things I'll say to people is that I had a all expense paid year's vacation in Mesopotamia. And
What'd you do?
I guess.
and most people don't know where Mesopotamia is or what the reference to Mesopotamia is. And they go, oh, and it sounds so exotic and so exciting. They perk up and they're like, oh my God, that sounds great. What'd you do there? And I said, oh, people tried to blow me up, shoot me, kill me. It was a really fun time. And they're like,
I don't think about being a veteran. The things we find funny. The things we find funny horrify people.
And I go, I was in the Marine Corps. It was my job to go there and to protect the United States. And, then it really wakes them up to how the world is. Like when Pearl Harbor occurred, a lot of people didn't know anything about the Pacific, anything that was, any of these islands that we went to, they didn't know what was going on over there. And we learned about it. And unfortunately, that's one of the ways that we have to learn is that somebody has to attack us. And then we have to say, hey, that's not good. And we fight back and,
do the
It's
Marine
like
thing.
my uncle was in Guadalcanal. I'd never heard of Guadalcanal, never heard of Midway. All these islands of Borneo and all of these places that we fought. We didn't know anything about these places before the war. And when you're saying Mesopotamia, tell me, where is it?
It's Iraq. It's the cradle of civilization. It's where everything supposedly started.
unfortunately, they're destroying a lot of these like relics that are thousands of years old because of
I
that.
knew I
unfortunately.
But I couldn't pinpoint it. I told me look on the
Yep.
map and pinpoint it. I couldn't. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, just like when people say Hispaniola, it's actually modern day Haiti. So when they say Hispanic, it's like, so you're Haitian, because it was the only Hispaniola is actually modern day Haiti. So weird history, but
Yep.
absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Gunny, before we do end our close ups for tonight?
Let's see.
Tracy, were you military too?
My son and my grandfather's World War II, one of the first there in Normandy, every generation in my family. And so for right now, my son, Sergeant Two-Step, his real name is Adam. He was active duty and he was killed while serving active duty. So right now I don't have someone in, and right now I kind of feel like that for me and my own choices that my family right now has paid that sacrifice. So I like to give back and support and help work with Gold Star families, our veterans. And if I can connect a veteran to a Gold Star family, I have found it helps both.
Absolutely.
So we don't have a unit. There's no troop for us. Everything just goes away overnight. So if I could find, I really have wanted to, like, especially our Vietnam veterans, like, connect the Vietnam veterans to a Gold Star family. And I'm telling you, that just is beautiful. So that is my goal, Meg. You mentioned the Vietnam veterans. And so one of those projects is to connect more with the Gold Star families. I want to tell everyone, I encourage you to reach out to Gold Star families. Don't be afraid of, I might say the wrong thing. I can tell you that we're sitting there wishing that we had a
That sense of
unit,
community, yeah.
somebody to get a hold of us. And I'll go anywhere, and well, maybe not anywhere, but I will go.
Yes,
I'll
you will.
go
I've
help.
seen you.
Well, if they call me to go do it, I'll go. But
I know.
I would love to support. Yeah, I would be there. So like when you mentioned Gunny Claus, you've got several things going on there in New York, and I immediately would love to see those pictures, of the memorials there. And Mrs. May, Woody Williams, God bless Woody Williams, and those monuments. There is one here, and my son does have a monument there. So what a beautiful thing, the Woody Williams Foundation. You have mentioned that. And you and the Jitterbug, you just give so much inspiration that we're grateful. And we hope everyone listens to you.
I'm sorry. I do
No. We just want women to be empowered and to listen
Uh-huh.
to you when you say, life is so short. Please listen to Mrs. May, Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, she's given the advice, and it's
the
the advice you won't
advice.
hear from anyone else. Absolutely.
Yes,
What were you
it's
saying, May?
beautiful.
I'm sorry.
Well,
What were you
getting back
saying?
to Whitney,
Sorry.
I did a few programs out to Valley Forge. We get the teachers there from every year. At least 75 to 100 teachers come, and we speak to them, tell them about World War II. One of my favorite pictures of him, I've got him among the teachers, and I'm shaking him. I don't know what I was doing. I said, Woody, what was I doing to you? And that was my favorite picture when he fell and hurt
I
himself
love that
before
picture.
he passed away. That's the one I sent for him
No,
because
no,
there's
no.
you. And there's
I've seen that one.
He's like the best smile. I love it.
What was I doing to you?
That's a
But
great
you're
picture.
probably giving him a hard time. Like I know
Yeah,
you give everyone a hard time when you're in your show mode. You're hilarious.
You mess with women, right?
I thought you were
Definitely not.
I'm
Jitterbug.
sorry,
Yeah.
She
if
is.
I interrupted
Oh,
you.
yeah. I thought you were jitterbugging Mrs. May with Woody
Yeah.
Williams, and that's how he ended up on the floor.
Well,
No. They met at a lot of events, and that
Yeah.
they became very good
My
friends.
husband
Yeah.
was on the floor. We were jitterbugs during
Yep.
World War II.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I like
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
said that when you guys would argue. What did you used to tell your husband when you would argue with him?
What was that about arguing with you?
What would you tell your husband when he would argue with them? What do you always say? What do you expect for what?
Our dancing, is that what you're asking?
No,
No,
like
your
when you, when
husband.
you would argue, you'd always say, "What do you expect for $2? Our marriage license
Oh,
only costs
yeah.
that much."
He was transferred, and when we went to get married, we got our license in Seattle. It cost $2. And at that time, the priest would marry you, or the church would marry you. For the servicemen, they didn't charge. And that's what it cost us to get married. And after 70 years of marriage, I said, how much do you expect for $2? You know?
That's a fair question. But
Ooh,
Hey.
I'm
Yeah,
going to use that one.
sorry, go ahead,
Hey.
Danny. I'm sorry.
niece, my granddaughter, great granddaughter, just got married in Florida
That
this
was so
month.
I
I can't believe the cost of marriages and
It's wildly expensive. I'm super happy to be divorced. I'm gonna be honest. But what were you saying, Gunny? I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, when my ex-wife and I would get into a little discussion, she was left-handed, and she'd always say, "Watch out! I'm going to straighten that nose out for you."
Was she Irish?
No, she's not Irish. She's,
Did she?
German.
That's a good question. She said, "Did she? Did it happen?
No,
Is that
she
why
never
your
did. I
nose
mean,
is
if you
so
look,
straight?"
it's still
Still
crooked.
It
good.
looks pretty good. That's what I was gonna say. Like maybe she corrected it for you. I don't know. That's good. That
No.
saves money. That saves money. That's a skill.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a
But-
whole
but
other
it-
subject.
So for me, the last thing I'll say is it's you were talking about the Patriot Guard riders and the honor flights. We have a breakfast here every Friday morning at the Gateway Diner at 08, where veterans get together. Unfortunately, our World War II veteran, he's had COVID and hasn't been able to come to our breakfast. Charlie, we check with him every week, and he's doing well, but he's just doesn't have the energy to make it. And it's being, it's freezing here. It's below freezing here. So, but we're going to go to breakfast tomorrow. One of the Navy vets from Vietnam, he's going to dress up as Santa. I'm going to dress up as Gunny Claus, and we'll have a little Christmas get together and raise money to send the World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans down to DC to see the memorials.
Oh, that's
Yes.
amazing.
when our honor flight comes home from Washington, they have it at the casino in Philadelphia, the return. I really greet them with the return. And they always ask me to come and be on the stage. And they ask me to place a rose on the missing in action. Every year I've done that for quite a few years. I said, we don't realize how many are still missing in action.
Yep.
Sad.
But it's amazing they were able to help preserve that memory and just pay tribute because of the fact that so many don't understand the significance of that. Thank you guys all so much for coming on tonight. I could talk to May for hours, but I know she's tired, and I appreciate everybody's time. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to us at the SM the Veteran Podcast, to Patriots Inside the Wire, Breaking Barriers with Meg Cryer, and we also have the always amazing Gunny Claus himself on every social media platform basically now. So the man, the myth, the legend has many adventures, just like Miss May. So definitely check out his pages as well. That way you can keep up with Gunny Claus and all he does.
Yes. And Brandy, don't forget our first annual Christmas concert is next Wednesday at 8 p.m. So we will have music, and we're hoping to get a snapshot of Gunny Claus just saying, keep your spirits up for the holidays. So first ever Resilient Patriots online next Wednesday. So yeah, thank you.
Yep, we were actually we had Kendall Turner come on yesterday, and he was able to actually have the live premiere of the Breaking Me Down song that he has with Jelly Roll, which is pretty amazing. And we've had some pretty interesting mix of artists that have wanted to come on recently. Something I never expected doing this, but music is a therapy, and I love that we were able to have such amazing guests like yourselves. And for me, my advice would be to check on your brothers and sisters, especially during this holiday season. This is a time where a lot of people, that 22 gets a lot higher than that rate. And, you never know what someone is going through. And many of us do the suck it up buttercup until it's too late. And then at that point, unfortunately, they become part of that 22, which is something that we as service members or just people in general, we can help mitigate by checking on each other, following up, that sense of community and purpose. It's important even when you get out. And there's no shame in asking for help. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to suffer in silence. And I definitely wish everybody a happy holiday season. I know I graduate Saturday, and then I fly to England Sunday, and then I do the calendar photo shoot on Monday, and then I go see Lindemann Tuesday. And so it's going to be a wild week. We'll see how it goes. But either way, it'll be entertaining. But again, thank you all so much for coming on. And then, if, like I said, if anyone has anything that they would like us to discuss on a future upcoming podcast, if they have questions, please do let us know so we can.
Brandy, we're very proud of you. I mean, you really worked hard to achieve what you wanted to do with your life, and you haven't had all the best going for you. You've had to fight hard in so many ways, and you've got your education. Nobody can take that away from you. That'll always be yours, and you'll be proud of it. And like I said, we're proud of you, and have a good time. That's important.
Thank you, Miss May. That means a lot. Actually, my family's not coming to my college graduation, so that means a lot. Thank you. It's funny because my daughter actually just lost both of her 2 front teeth, so she says that she wants her 2 front teeth for Christmas. That's all she wants for Christmas. But she's saying it like Mariah Carey, and I'm like, no. She said she swallowed one, and I was like, I don't know the return policy if you swallow it with the tooth fairy. Like, it's like an IOU tooth sort of situation. I don't feel like that's explained enough in the parent code. But absolutely, like I said, please reach out. There's Toys for Tots that's out there. There's Operation Christmas, the Operation Wreath. There's many different organizations out there that, like even Soldiers Angels, they're looking for volunteers around the holiday season to sponsor families or to write letters to deployed members overseas. Just because, I was stationed overseas. It's sometimes difficult to be far from your family, especially when you're not used to that. And yes, you have your military family, but it still definitely helps to have a reminder of love from home. So, definitely reach out. You have no idea what impact a letter will write. May herself, she was a pen pal to a woman who now created a World War II memorial. You really never know where those little pebbles will lead. So honestly, thank you guys again so much. And I'm going to have Aurelia take it away and wish her a happy early birthday, Nuggie. But for everyone out there, have a good night. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Aurelia. Just a reminder, smash like, hit subscribe, and click the bell. Please give me my mommy some hearts. Yay, victories!
Oh, how cute.